Construction begins this summer to put in something unique near a planned light rail stop in Brooklyn Park. A partnership between the city, North Hennepin Community College, and the county library system developed a plan for a temporary park plaza. It will go on land just south of the Brooklyn Park Library. These photos show examples of what could potentially go in there. Plans include building a nature-based play area, putting in trees and paths, and installing art pieces. A Hennepin County grant would pay for $55,000 worth of upgrades. The McKnight Foundation could contribute up to $50,000. City officials say the goal is to incorporate parts of the plaza into the future North Hennepin Performance Arts Center. Construction on that project is slated to begin in 3 years. In Crystal, a former liquor store will be transformed into a new child daycare center. The City Council approved the plans for the building that sits on the edge of a residential and commercial area on the Crystal-New Hope border. The size of the building will stay the same. The daycare will have about 50 children and 6 full-time employees. A major expansion planned by pharmaceutical maker Upsher-Smith in Maple Grove will eventually impact the company's operations in Plymouth. The Maple Grove City Council approved the expansion this past week. Upsher-Smith will build a nearly 300,000 square foot addition to its Maple Grove campus. The 4-story addition will be used primarily for drug manufacturing. Upsher-Smith plans to consolidate operations with the expansion. The long-term plan is to move manufacturing from Denver and Plymouth into the new building. Meanwhile, Maple Grove is looking at future plans for a large swath of land, about 100 acres worth, between Interstate 94 and the Maple Grove Hospital. The developer, Ryan Companies, is calling the site Project 100. A variety of ideas are being considered, but there is a strong desire for medical campus uses. A multifamily residential development is also under consideration. The project is only in the idea stage right now, but we could see plans come forward by the end of the year. For 5 years, a major thoroughfare in Plymouth has been as trash-free as you can get. And that's thanks to the volunteer efforts of one city resident. Eric Nelson has his story.
Everything here
in this throwaway world
was picked up in the last week.
Doug Eichten likes to pick up.
Last year, I estimated we picked from the middle of May to the middle of October, we picked up 450 pounds of trash.
In the spring, summer, and fall,
we got the grabber that I use every day.
Doug and his friends collect garbage along Bass Lake Road in Plymouth.
Here's our first piece.
Cleaning up a 2-mile stretch.
See, here we go.
Between US 169 and I-494.
Well, it's everywhere. People are willing to live with it now, and which is such a shame.
This retired snowbird,
there we go,
spends 5 months in Minnesota.
5.
And 7 in Florida.
Florida, yep.
Where he also picks up trash in the baking sun.
I'd say the most common thing is plastic of any variety whatsoever, whether it's cups or bottles or wrapping.
Doug's work on Bass Lake Road has earned him recognition in Hennepin County's Adopt a Highway program.
If you want to know what's out on the road, go to any convenience store and look at the shelves, because that's what it's going to be on the highway in no time.
In a typical week, Doug fills up at least 1 bag of trash.
Try to pick up all of them, no matter how large or small.
Sometimes it is much more.
Along the curb,
I followed the garbage guy on his recent rounds.
This is just one little stretch.
Seeing a sample size of the litter he collects daily. However,
saved this amount from that storm sewer back there.
For Doug, his garbage gathering isn't just about curb appeal.
It's about protecting the waterways, because it all goes into a storm sewer someplace.
In Plymouth, I'm Eric Nelson, CCX News.
Runners are always looking for ways to mix up their workouts. As Delane Cleveland reports, a Robbinsdale man found a way to make his runs a little more interesting while learning more about his city in the process.
How well do you know the town where you live? For instance, let's take the city of Robbinsdale. People know that it has a vibrant restaurant scene and plenty of space for outdoor recreation. Just ask avid runner Lance Velker.
I spent 18 weeks this past from December till April training for the Boston Marathon, and I was up and down the Parkway out to the river and back. I was, going through Sohaki a couple times.
With easy access to all of those trails, Robbinsdale is a perfect place for people who enjoy pounding the pavement.
And it was as simple as walking out my door and going up and down the parkway.
However, Lance decided he didn't want to limit himself to the city's designated trails, considering there's plenty of other scenery to check out. In total, Robbinsdale has 85 miles worth of streets. Lance has run literally every single one of them.
I basically did the old-fashioned way and printed out the Google map and outlined it.
After Lance finished with his marathon training, he decided to take a break and run the streets without worrying about time and distance. And after the course of 13 different sessions, Lance zigzagged his way through the entire city, residential and busy streets alike, using the GPS on his watch to track his movements.
Robbinsdale was a fun experiment to do because I live here and I haven't been down every street.
In total, he says it took nearly 10.5 hours to finish the task, which he officially completed on May 12th.
I enjoyed it. I saw things that I didn't know were here, and it was a good way to exercise and let go of all the training I've been doing and just kind of enjoy running.
In Robbinsdale, Delane Cleveland, CCX News.
Lance says he doesn't have any plans to run every street of a neighboring city yet, but he would be interested in running Robbinsdale again next summer and see if he can do it just a little bit faster. And we're rooting for you, Lance. A reminder for you, of course, you can see this story and many more on our website, ccxmedia.org. Go check it out.
At age 33, former Wayzata High School player Ryan Saunders this week became the youngest head coach in the NBA when he was officially named the coach of the Minnesota Timberwolves. CCX Sports Director John Jacobson talked to Saunders about the day and what's ahead for the team.
It means a lot. It means a lot. It's for a number of different reasons, and it's more about, for me, it's about the players and the fact that you build the trust where you can have backing and solid footing to start. But it also, it means that I get to continue to build on something and work towards an ultimate goal, which I understand is going to be a challenge. And it's not always going to be, these days where everybody's smiling and laughing. There's going to be tough days, but I welcome those challenges, and I'll put my best foot forward because that's what Minnesota deserves.
At what age did you first have the thought, I want to be a coach at some level, be it high school or college or the NBA here?
Yeah. I don't know what age it was. Probably when I realized I wasn't good enough to play professional basketball, because I knew I wanted to be around the game forever. Knew I wanted to be around the game as an occupation, and for that reason, I fell in love with the game at an early age, and that's helped me grow, and it's helped me get to this point right here.
You graduated from Wayzata High School in 2004, which to you I'm sure seems like a half a lifetime ago, but really isn't that long ago. Did you think at that point, 33, I could be a head coach in the NBA?
I don't know if you ever think that something like that can happen at this age, but I knew it was going to be in the realm of possibility, because I knew one, what my work ethic is, what I stand for. But then also, I knew my approach to the game and how I'd be willing to adapt to the ever-changing NBA game. So I knew it was in the realm of possibility, but it might have been in the outer realm.
You talked about your dad in the press conference. What do you think he would have said to you today?
Yeah, well, I mean, I said he'd tell me to be my own man, but he would also told me, how proud he is of me today, and just to be a part of. The organization that meant so much to him, and to be a leader here, and he told me to, take care of it for him.
More pressure being in your own hometown as being the head coach somewhere else?
Yes and no. I mean, there's more relationships, but I don't know. I don't really feel pressure, to be honest with you. Just on a daily basis in general, because I know that things are going to work out the way they should, but you have to put the work in if you want them to work out the way you want them to work out. So for that reason, I look forward to putting the work in here, and maybe not being as stressed as you might be, at times.
Is your approach changed now? Is either the way you coach or the new team that you've got around you in management?
Yeah, it does a little bit. It does a little bit. We're obviously going to be more collaborative on things. We're going to think of ways that we can grow the game and grow ourselves and this organization in a number of ways. So for that reason, we'll make sure to challenge each other, challenge the norms of how this game is played and how it's approached, and we just look forward to that challenge.
Talk about some of the guys that you went to school with that still support you and you keep in touch with.
Yeah, it's fun. I mean, it's one of my best friends. As I was walking, he actually played at Wayzata. Datuno Badina ended up playing at North Dakota State. I was the best man at his wedding. He was in my wedding. As I'm walking down to take the stage, I hear somebody yell to me in the Skyway, and he walked over from his job over at in the Wells Fargo building to come support me. And I still speak to Spencer Tollickson, who I room with at the Gophers at the U. I see him a lot. Jamal Bushamal, Blake Hoffarber, and I live close to each other, and we meet for a late bite and watch some games late at night. So having that support in this market is really special to me.
Saunders and the team are now working on assembling the rest of the coaching staff. And that's all for sports. More news in a moment.